Cool. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. What's up, dude? How's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. I mean, living the dream, right? That's what the people say.
For sure. Yeah. So, hey, welcome to Work Friends Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We've made it to somehow episode 4. I'm still doing it. It's a month. We'll see how much longer I keep this up. I'm gonna hope for the best.
Yeah.
Anywho, joined here today by my good buddy John. So John here he works for Elephant Auto Insurance currently.
Mm-hmm.
Same as previous guest of ours, Eli.
That guy.
Is also, yeah, that's right. He also is an insurance claims auditor, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like the broad definition. The technical title is like staff appraiser or virtual staff appraiser, actually.
Okay.
But I can get into why they have the distinction between the two of those later.
Okay. So you kind of do something different than Eli.
No, I do the exact same
Okay.
job. Yeah, it's for broad terms, it's like I work in insurance, like claims. I'm technically like an insurance auditor.
Yeah.
Like he said, because we do like, audit the body work and stuff like that, getting done for the vehicles. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, sick. Well, before we get into that, let's just kind of like, I like to start at the beginning, kind of like where
it all began.
Yeah. So where it all started was I met you, I think in senior year of high school, and you are yet another attendee of LC Bird.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 guests. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I guess you want to tell the story of how we met?
Sure.
I'll let
So
you take it away.
I went to LC Bird, and then you went to Matoaca, Monacan.
I went to Matoaca, yeah.
Matoaca,
I was district for Monacan, though.
Okay.
So actually, that's a good question. Were you district for
That's
LC
a negative.
Bird?
No, I was in the Manchester district because
Okay.
that's literally right next to my parents' house.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Were you in that engineering program that CJ?
I was in the engineering program,
Nice.
but only for 2 years.
Brandon-
I went in with the expectation. Yeah, Brandon, CJ, they both
Okay.
completed the
I
engineering.
had no
program.
idea Brandon was in it. I just thought
I
you went to
forgot
Bird.
that it was because I also went to high school with Brandon, so
We-
I forgot that he was in the.
And I'm always confused. Were you in a grade above him or no?
Yes.
Okay, you were.
Yes, I was in the grade. I think like just above him.
Okay. All right. So you graduated 2013 also.
Yeah.
So did I. Okay.
Yeah.
I swear I was talking with him and he said he was 2013 too.
I thought he was 2014. I thought that he was a year behind me.
That's what I also thought. But whatever. Anyway, semantics.
Yeah, just
yeah.
whatever.
But so okay, so you only did 2 years. So what was going on?
Good. I did the 2 years of the engineering program just because I went in with the expectation that it wasn't going to be as hard as it was.
Okay.
Because in middle school and stuff, I was good at like math and
Yeah.
science and all that sort of stuff. Well, they dropped me into engineering, and I'm taking like honors engineering physics as a 9th grader.
That sounds
Like I'm
very
14 years old, dude. Like I got to get on the bus because I had to catch a specialty center bus.
Mhm.
I had to catch
Okay.
a bus at like 5:30 in the morning
You had
to get to school on time.
You had to catch a special bus.
It was the same length as all the other buses.
Okay,
Tyler.
all right, just
Don't
checking.
insult me.
I'm just checking. I also had to.
Because
I
it was
also
called
had
the spin bus.
I also had to
Where's
ride
some-
that's one. No. I had to ride a specialty bus too. A special bus. I had to ride a special bus too. So don't feel bad about it.
His was the short
It was. I had 2 shorter buses.
combined into one regular size bus. Okay. But yeah, the expectation was, it's not going to be that bad. Engineering, going to learn how to build stuff, design stuff, things like that.
Mhm.
No, they plop you in like the deep end, like right from the get.
It's all the like theoretical stuff, like right away.
No, I think it was like applied physics and stuff, but it was still like, I'm barely coherent. I got to get up at like 5 in the morning to catch a bus for an hour to go to school.
That's the most annoying part about high school around here, and I think most of the country. Why are we making like teenagers get up at 5 in the morning to go somewhere and sit there for 8 hours?
Well, I thought that they flipped it. I thought they flipped it recently. 'Cause
They
now
should.
I think
Okay.
I want to say, I don't know if it, at least around here, but in my county, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that the high schoolers are on like the elementary school schedule.
Okay, that's
So
how it
the
should be.
elementary schools flip flop to the high school schedule.
That's how it should be because little kids are going to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. Okay, so we were talking about engineering program. So
Yep.
Yeah, so you were in there for 2 years, and then what? You just decided to kind of.
Yeah, I was not doing great as far as like the math and the harder level like stuff goes. Like I was doing okay in like sciences and history classes and stuff because that was pretty much like the science was engineering based, but it was also still kind of like mainstream like biology
Okay.
and sort of stuff.
And that
which just-
stuff was a little easier for you. So
that was a little bit easier,
Okay.
yeah. And then history was never a problem. I was taking John Tyler
Yeah.
history classes. So
you're doing like dual enrollment stuff.
I was
too?
doing the
Nice.
dual enrollment, like the college level.
You got to do a lot of add and subtracting and whatnot. I don't think so.
I don't
It
think
sounds
so.
like I'll make them up. My dad and I actually were talking about this literally yesterday. We decided that when we're dictators of the U.S., 10th grade is when you can start. That's when you know pretty much everything you need to know, right? 10th
Yeah.
grade. You got all the
Yeah,
basics.
sure.
You got all the basic stuff down. That's when I think you're old enough to decide. You got a car. You're 16. You can decide if you want to, start working towards like a trade, or you want to start. That should be when you can specialize. Like instead of going to college,
Yeah.
Actually, you could specialize in whatever you want to do for your career, like around 10th grade, and then you can go on further to do whatever. I think that'd be a good idea, but
See,
I don't know.
I'm kind of with you in a way,
Yeah.
but what I think is that I saw this the other day. But yeah, I think that college specified high school more broad knowledge, but also teach some applied like life skills.
I agree. I think that would help.
Don't come out of high school and then be expected to be like an adult, and then you still have to be like, yeah, I don't know what taxes are, dude.
Yeah,
like, am I a dependent?
I'm
like,
really
I depend on myself, I guess. I don't know.
really stressed about taxes. I rented this house out last year. No, I didn't. IRS, cut this. No, but
don't worry, they're trimming up the IRS. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I rented this house out last year, and I guess I did something right or wrong. I don't know. I ended up like having to pay way more than I ever have before, and I'm really worried about that again this year. But this should be the last year I have to deal with it. So
okay.
All right. Anyway, back to Bird. So 2 years. So what did you do after 2 years? So they allowed you to just kind of drop into like a regular.
Yeah, I called it Gen Pop.
Gen Pop. Yeah,
that's kind of a good descriptor if you know what that school's about.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was just able to tell her like, hey, I want to stay here with all my friends and stuff.
That's what I was gonna say.
I can't do the engineering program because I'm going to fail.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. If you keep me in this hard math class, I'm gonna fail.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not trying to say that engineering trigonometry is hard, but it is hard.
It is, yeah, for sure is. So did you know that I also almost went to Bird? I wanted to.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was gonna go to Bird, so I would have been hanging out with you and Keith and everyone.
Danny,
pretty much all of our friends. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
I would have been in high school with you guys, which would have been sick.
Dope.
I am even worse than math at you because I got waitlisted, so I took the test and couldn't get in. So anyway, you're better than math at me. You're better.
You gave it the college try.
I gave it a middle school try.
Fair.
But okay, so cool. So they let you go back to normal gym pop.
Yep.
Nice. And then so you did 2 more years high school.
Yep.
Right. And then that was around when we met.
Yeah,
so
pretty much because it was senior year.
Yeah, so we met senior year high school. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was like the winter. Like it might have even been like the beginning kind of towards the year because I want to say it was like probably before Christmas or something.
It could have been. Yeah, I have no idea, honestly.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
There was snow on the ground, which leads us to the story of how we actually ended up meeting for the first time.
Yep. Which if you remember, you can. I'll set the scene. So it's snow day. It's senior year. We all have cars. They suck, and there's snow on the ground. So you've all seen movies. We wanted to see if we could do J turns, which are easier to do when it's wet out, or there's snow on the ground.
Old school people might know it as the Rockford.
The Rockford turn. Interesting. Never heard that before. Really?
So there was an old police like kind of crime show that was called the Rockford Files.
Yeah,
and that was like his key move. He would
turn.
floor his car in reverse, and then he would yank the e-brake or parking brake or just tap the brakes because cars didn't have ABS probably back then.
Of course not.
You just rotate that thing around 180 degrees and pull off going forward.
And it was probably a fucking boat. When did the Rockford Files take place? It was
I'm sure it was in the 60s,
yeah,
70s.
So it was probably like a big Lincoln Continental or something.
That car was probably 30 feet long.
Basically just slid up, crazy.
Things like if 4 Toyota Priuses smashed into each other.
That's insane. So anyway, okay, Rockford turn. I've never heard that before. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I learned something new. Look at that.
There you go. I'm here to educate.
That's the whole point of this podcast. But okay, so yeah, we were doing J turns. We were, 17, 18, somewhere around there.
And like, the crappiest cars you have when you're like a 16. I mean, my car was nice.
Yeah.
Emphasis on was.
What was your car? I don't remember.
So it was a 2000 Pontiac Grand Am.
Oh,
it was a 2-door.
Okay.
So, they came in a 2-door or 4-door.
Yeah, so you had 2-door, you had a little coupe.
Yeah, I felt like a little Billy Badass
Hell
right there.
Hell yeah. Well,
with my little 170 horsepower front wheel drive GM, 2-door.
It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty cool little car.
It was a cool little car, and then I was actually watching you. I know perform a J turn.
I did it. I
was surprised.
I did it in a 4-door Chrysler 300M 2000.
Yeah, 2000. Like not even the ones that people think of when they see a Chrysler 300. No. Like the one that doesn't look like.
Yeah, it's like oval shaped on the front.
It's the kind of car that your grandpa would drive.
It was.
And your grandpa could still drive that car now, but there are also people that are like our age rocking around in those things because they have SRT8 versions of them that make like almost 500 horsepower. So.
And then what happened?
Well, I kind of looked and I was like, dude, if this kid could do it. Like, because I didn't know jack about you.
This is
I just knew that you were like, just a kind of a dorky looking dude driving a grandpa car.
Friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, if you can do that in that big old thing, I got no problem doing that. So I probably got a little bit more speed on me than you did. I'm going in reverse, and I just like whipped the steering wheel and yanked the parking brake, and I flipped around great.
Yeah.
But I kept flipping around. And instead of making, just like a full 360 or anything, something nice and safe, when I got about 3/4 of the way through it, there was a magic curb that appeared in front of me.
Just this mysterious curb that came out of nowhere.
Mysterious curb, yeah. And I actually had your first podcast guest riding in the passenger seat with me.
That's right, you did.
CJ was in the passenger seat with me.
Yeah.
And I whipped that thing around. I felt it hit the curb, and I was like, oh, dang, dude, I messed that up. Well, I have to do better next time.
Yeah.
And I went to go put it in reverse and back out of it.
So you didn't know.
I didn't know it.
You didn't know that you hit the curb.
No, I didn't know, because how I figured it out was I put it in reverse, and I was like, oh, dang, what the heck, man? I was like, did I flatten my tire? I told CJ, CJ, get out the car and tell me like what I'm stuck on. He gets out of the car, his mouth just droops.
So I could see him get out of. I was like looking at his side of the car, and I could see him get out. And the first thing he did was look at me and go,
just mouth to the floor.
Yep,
and I was like, oh, that's not good.
It can't be good.
That's not good. And I was like,
so what happened?
I was kind of mechanically ignorant at that point. I didn't really know that much mechanically about cars. So I got out, and I was like, maybe my wheel is really scratched or something. No. The dang, I didn't know this at the time, but the freaking steering knuckle had completely snapped.
Jeez.
Because it's like a cast part. So the force of that wheel hitting the curb at whatever ludicrous speed I was going.
We'll say 30.
I mean, it could have been that fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that thing completely sheared off. It ripped the CV boot and the axle completely out.
Good Lord.
The wheel bearing and everything like that.
It basically like took the axle, and then the end of it where the wheel attaches to the axle was pretty much snapped off and sideways.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know how the tire's supposed to be straight up and down?
Yeah.
The tire was this way from the top.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, it was. Oh,
but still connected to your car somehow.
Still connected to the car somehow. Yes. Yeah. And I'll admit the wheel even wasn't really looking that bad.
No, it was fine.
Like the wheel took the hit like a champ. Yeah. It was the suspension that apparently was made out of, like 2-year-old chocolate bars or something.
Made out of chalk.
Yeah. But yeah, that was so that was a fun call to my dad to ask him to come pick me up and get a tow truck for the car so that we could figure out what to do with that.
Do you remember what your dad said to us when he got there?
Yeah. My dad shows up. Little backstory on my dad. He is a he's a numbers man. He's very business numbers man.
I've never seen someone more of a business numbers man than him.
Yeah, no, very straight-laced business type guy. And so he shows up and he looks at it, and I could just see the dollar signs going off in his head.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he is upset.
He left his wallet in his car just because he was worried about it. He didn't want it to see. He didn't want it to see. He was like, "Stay here, honey."
Yeah, he was like,
yeah. And he takes his wallet out and just sets it on his, gives a little smooch.
But he walked up, and I was expecting him to just like go off.
Just kidding, John's dad also. So we were just joking. I love you.
But I was just expecting him to blow a stack, and instead he just looks at the group of you guys like over there, and he just looked at you guys and he goes, "You guys need smarter friends."
Yep, that's exactly what he said.
I was almost sitting there like, oh, it would have been better if he just yelled at me.
Yeah, it would have been. He gave you the old "I'm not mad, just disappointed" thing. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was how I met you. That was when we became friends. And when your dad looked at us, by the way, like he was looking at your car. When he looked at all of us, just kind of staring at you, we were all like, and as soon as he turned around, we all just looked different directions, like we weren't paying attention.
It's like, oh man, look at that.
Yeah. But yes, that's how we met. So what happened to that car afterwards? Like what? I never really knew the follow up.
Yeah. So that car, it's actually a funny story because all of this, like, it's really just funny how everything comes together because of that situation led up to several number of key things that kind of happened that were turning points for me.
Okay. Oh, so this is like a turning point in your life. This is when you pulled it all together.
Kind of, because like when
that's good.
After I wrecked my car, I had to get a ride to school, and the person that lived closest to me. So that kind of like led to the series of events that has shaped my life to this point.
Okay.
Because after that, I got my Mustang that I had for years, and that was kind of
is what I knew you. That's like
that's the main thing that you knew that I had.
I would say to this day, I still think of like that Mustang. When I think of you, I still think of that Mustang a little bit.
Oh yeah, because I had the car for almost 10 years.
Yeah, you had it for as long as I knew.
And that was I had always loved cars, but that car just kind of kickstarted like me getting more mechanically involved and stuff. Yeah, and, like tinkering with things.
I was gonna say that earlier too, because you said I can't imagine you not being mechanically inclined, because now I feel like if I have a
Yeah.
car question, you're one of the first people I go to.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just one of those weird things because before it was like I was interested in cars,
Yeah.
but I just didn't know jack about the mechanics of how everything worked.
Mm.
And then when I got that car, I was like, oh, well, I want to do stuff to it. I want to tinker with it.
Right.
And then I just ended up, having to do general maintenance and
That's
adding a
so
couple
cool.
things here and there, and that just kind of like made me learn a lot about mechanical stuff.
Yeah.
And that just got me even more interested in working with cars and kind of leading to my job to the point where it is now.
Yeah, that is pretty tight.
Yeah.
I can't even, like, it's such a weird thing to have that, like, how smashing your car against a curb in high
That's
school.
what I'm saying. It was like the point.
It led to, yeah, I mean, it really was. Led to us being friends and you getting your car that was, like, iconic to you.
Yeah,
The
because it was like,
Blue Mustang.
I met a roommate, and then I met another roommate, and that roommate's now wife.
Oh, not me.
Well, your roommate at
And then your
one
roommate.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, Eli, because
That's right. Yeah,
your
yeah.
last or your second podcast
Yeah,
guest. He and I lived together actually for a little bit there.
Oh, yeah, true.
And
I forgot about that.
his now wife, who was sorority sisters with my wife now.
My wife.
My wife,
Very nice.
very nice. But the reason that I met her was through his now wife.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And the only reason I would have done that is because I lived with him.
That's a good point. Crazy. Wow. So tangentially, yeah, you met your wife because you blew your axle.
Pretty much.
On a curb.
I mean, that sounds a little dirty when you say it like that.
It does. So, in a way, me doing a J turn.
If you really want to talk about where it all started,
you're welcome.
it started with Tyler flipping that old man car around in the
Hell
parking
yeah.
lot and me trying to follow
Perfectly.
suit and breaking my car to pieces.
Yeah.
And
Breakthrough.
that led me to where I am now.
You're welcome.
I'm now a husband and a father, so thank you, Tyler.
Happy to help, bud. Happy to help you along. Glad to see you. Getting it all together. Yeah, you are a father. Congratulations, by the way. I like your hat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk about that now? We can talk about it later.
No, we can talk about it whenever we want to.
All right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I do whatever the fuck I want. This is our show.
Yeah, I've got. My daughter Avery is now 2 months old.
Nice. Okay.
She
2
was,
months.
Yeah, because she was born New Year's Eve.
That's wild. I can't believe it's 2 months already.
I know. It's crazy that it's been 2 months.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of weird with the way her birthday falls, but we're just going month by month.
She was
basically born. She was born on New Year's Eve.
On New
She
Year's
was
Eve, that's what I
basically
thought.
born January 1st.
Okay.
So pretty
Nice.
much like it's now March.
Yeah.
Call her 2 months.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that's about 2 months.
Yeah.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. It's been fantastic. You learn a lot, and realize that being a parent is definitely not easy.
I can't
But
imagine.
it
It's
is
probably
like-
the hardest job that you've had so far.
Yeah, I would probably say so, but it is the most rewarding thing. Because
Nice.
now, like when I walk in and
Yes.
I wake her up and I'm like, "Hey, sweetie," and like she smiles at me. Oh, dude, it's over.
And she goes, blah.
She's not doing as much of that yet.
And then no babbling yet? Okay.
No, but like when I look at her and she kind of gives me a smile, it's like,
That
okay, well,
rules.
you're either pooping or you're just really happy to see me. Either way, I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Either way, things are going great.
Yeah, either way, things are going good.
Yeah.
Stuff's happening.
Stuff's happening. Something's going on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, today was just a little harder because she had her first round of shots today.
Oh, did you really?
But yeah, so she got her shots today, and so she has not been a happy camper.
Yeah. You
for
got,
a
and you
good
said
part of it.
you got Kennedy's aunt coming over to help you, right?
Yep.
Okay.
She came over and she's gonna help put her to bed and
Nice.
give her a bath and everything like that beforehand. So,
Hell yeah.
but Kennedy texted me like after I got here, and Kennedy's my wife, by the way.
Kennedy's his wife, by the way.
Shout out to her, love you.
That was-
But I'm sweet when I want to.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, she just texted me and was like, she just drank 4 ounces and had a big old blowout.
nice.
And I
Good
was
for
like,
her.
well, she's looking up. She's doing great.
That's
She's
wonderful.
back to doing baby stuff.
And how is Avery doing? That was
Uh,
Kennedy that had the blowout, I assume.
no, that was the baby
Oh,
stuff.
Avery had the blowout. Okay.
Yes, Avery
I
had
got
the
you.
blowout.
Nice.
Yeah, yes, my wife drank 4 ounces and had a blowout.
Yeah.
Our trial drank 4 ounces of milk and
Oh.
had a blowout.
Okay, my bad. That's what we were talking about.
No.
Okay, so let me review my notes. So, all right, yeah, you fucked up your car in high school.
Yes, I
You
did.
got a Mustang.
Yep.
Which is you then had for 10 years after, and pretty much that's like one of your
Yeah,
key
I fucked up
characteristics.
like the slowest car that I've ever owned.
Yeah, true, which is great.
Yeah.
And the cheapest one I assume you've probably ever owned.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great. That was your first car too?
Yep, that was my first car.
Okay,
It was a shame because my dad bought that car like brand new in 2000. Like it
Oh, it was your dad's at first?
yeah, the original owner.
Yeah. Oh man, he was
Yeah.
probably heartbroken.
probably.
That's all right. It was its time. It
Yeah.
was time. Plus, look at all the things that happened because you fucked up.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That was like my
Yeah.
turning point there.
Yeah. So I mean, I do remember you having to get rides and stuff. But you eventually got a Mustang. How did you pay for that? Did you have like a part-time job in high school or anything? Or
So yes, so I had a part-time job in high school. So I was actually working at Cold Stone Creamery.
yeah, Cold Stone Cream, ice cream man.
Yep, ice cream
Nice.
man. That was
Cold
that was
Stone
that
John.
was insightful because it always like I always kind of reference it, and I feel like every kid at some point should work in some sort of like food service, like
Yep.
retail level job,
I
so
agree.
that you kind of understand a little bit about like how all of that stuff works.
Yeah.
So that way, when you're standing next to a boomer in line and they're complaining about how long it's taking, and it's like, yeah, excuse me, can you just keep in mind that this is like a 17-year-old kid that has other stuff going on?
Yeah, yeah.
And they also have you yelling about them
Not.
taking too long to make your ice cream.
Yep, definitely. I agree with you though. I worked at Sweet Frog, which was Cold
God.
Stone adjacent.
Sweet frog.
So yeah, what were we? Were we competitors?
Absolutely not.
We weren't competitors.
No, you know how much work I had to put into doing stuff?
At Cold Stone?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do? I don't understand what you did at Cold Stone. Were you just the ice cream guy?
Yeah, so I mean, there's really only kind of one position. There's not really multiple positions in the store.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like working at McDonald's. Unless you're like a manager or something like that,
Yeah.
you work at McDonald's.
It's like a guy. It's the guy or the manager.
It's like you're either a person that works there or you're the manager of the people that work there.
Yeah.
Like there's two positions.
And so you
I was not the guy who was in charge of the people that worked there.
I got that.
I was the other one.
I understand. Like I didn't hire you. Don't get mad at me.
Yeah, but Sweet Frog is like all like self-serve kind of stuff.
And yogurt. It's yogurt versus.
Yeah, it's yogurt too. But at Cold Stone, like I actually had to like take people's order and prepare stuff.
Okay,
because people could like kind of mix and match their own stuff. Like they can get like a certain flavor of ice cream, mix in like some Oreos, brownies, sprinkles.
So does it just come out of like a big tub in the back? And you guys, I mean,
yeah. So they make their own ice cream there.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a machine obviously that does it for you and everything, but you have all the ingredients. You put it in there, and then it mixes it, and then it goes out into the pan. You stick it in the deep freeze until you need it.
Okay, so you're actually making ice cream.
Like so they're actually making their own ice cream in the house. Yeah, they got all the mixes and stuff like that to put in the machine. And pour it out back there.
Sense. I just wonder because I know like Sweet Frog. I remember I had to cut up a bunch of like ingredients and shit because I had like fresh fruit and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I had to cut up. That was like my job was cut up. I didn't really scoop things. I was just in the back most of the time, just preparing food. I was like food prep for Sweet Frog. So I kind of figured that's what you're doing at like Cold Stone or something.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much all you would do is like somebody comes up and they're like, "I want a birthday cake remix," and it's like, okay, that's
start rapping at them.
Cake batter ice. Start rapping at them. It's like happy birthday.
Thanks, bro.
No, but it's like you got to remember, it's like I think cake batter ice cream, sprinkles, brownie, and fudge or something.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of the signature stuff you got to try and memorize.
It sounds like a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Because I had to take I had to take like a flipping test.
Did you take an ice cream test?
I'm pretty sure I had to take an ice cream test.
Lame.
I had to graduate from damn ice cream university before I could be a minimum wage spoon jockey.
Meanwhile, you're trying to pass math and engineering.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's like I got my own stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't care about this.
I'm working to save money to buy a car because I had to borrow my dad's.
Yeah. Damn it. Did you get free ice cream?
No. So you got like a discount, like.
You didn't even get free ice cream at.
I could get free ice cream if I could like get a whole scoop onto like a sample spoon.
Are you serious? They were like the end of every shift. They wouldn't be like, "Yeah, take a cup."
No, absolutely.
What? That's why
you got discounts and stuff, and then you only got discounts up to like a certain dollar.
That is so lame.
Like they did like cakes and stuff like that. Yeah. You can get them like written on and stuff. So I had a coworker like write on a cake for my sister's birthday, and I was like, shoot, I should get like 15% discount or whatever on that. Ran up full price, and I was like, don't I get a discount? And my boss was like, no, because this goes over the dollar limit.
The dollar limit?
I think that it's like if you spend more than $30, then your discount doesn't.
That's insane. What are margins on ice cream? I guess margins on ice cream might be that then. I never really thought about ice cream margins before.
I mean, I have no idea. It's good quality, but I mean, it's a pretty dang big company.
Yeah,
you wouldn't think it would be
expensive.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't think they would be that crazy. I mean, they're paying me minimum wage.
Even at Jersey Mike's, I got a free. Every time I worked at Jersey Mike's, I got a free sub every shift. I just had to make it. That was the only thing.
I'll get a job at Jersey Mike's now just for that.
Trust me, I've been thinking about it. I'm hungry.
You like it's like I can work like 2 hours a week as long as I get like a free sandwich every week.
Yeah, I can work 20 minutes Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
I would just walk in there and be like, I can work for 15 minutes right now.
Yeah. How long does it take to make a sandwich? Probably about a minute. I can do that.
You're hired, kid. You go behind and make a sandwich. I quit.
I'm out.
Taking my free sub.
I have to do an interview process every time. Just I hop Jersey Mike's stores.
They're gonna put your picture up in one day.
Do not hire this man.
Yeah.
No matter how good at making sandwiches.
It's like banned nationwide from Jersey Mike's.
Cool. All right. So that was during Cold Stone. Did you use like the Cold Stone money to buy your new Mustang, or?
Yeah. So I kind of worked because I think that I bought the car while I was still working there. So like I saved up, and got like a certain amount of money for a down payment, and then went out, bought the Mustang. The thing was mint.
Yeah,
because I mean it was a 2003, and I bought it 2013, so it was about 10 years old, had 69,000 miles on it.
That's not bad,
and it was completely unmolested. and then I took care of that.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Yeah, it was
stay away from my vehicles. But
what I'm saying is that it was perfectly fine and functional.
Yeah.
And I made it not as much that.
Yeah,
it was clean and comfortable, and eventually down the road, like I didn't do anything heinous to it.
No, but it was
blow
loud.
it up or anything like that. But it was loud, and
not like obnoxious. It sounded good.
Yeah, no, it sounded pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't.
You put an aftermarket like exhaust on it, or
yeah. Okay. So it started with mufflers, and then I got a pipe in the intermediate to cut down on like because the thing had like 2 catalytic converters on each side of it.
It's 2?
Yeah, so it had 2 catalytic converters on each side, which I think is more common in vehicles now. But it was like this thing's very restrictive.
Yeah.
So I got one with like less catalytic conversion, and they were like higher flowing.
Okay. Catalytic converters are those things that crackheads are always trying to steal, right?
Yeah, because they got precious metals in them.
Those sons of bitches.
Yep. Yeah, they figured out what they could steal pretty quick and easy.
Gosh,
get a lot of claims for that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it all comes back to insurance and cars.
Yeah. It really does. Like I said, that's pretty much what most of my life involved.
Pretty much.
But at Cold Stone, I saved enough money to be able to buy the car.
Yeah.
And then I eventually just got tired of working there, as most people do with food service and retail stuff.
And did you work there all the way like after high school?
Yeah. So I worked there like after high school, like a little bit through the senior year of high school, and then a little bit after high school. And then I was like, I just need something different.
Yeah, I've had enough of ice cream.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of like what was your plan in school? Like, did you know what you wanted to be? Like, obviously at one point you wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah, at one point I wanted to be an engineer, and then I realized
so did I. Oh, by the way,
not great. Yeah, and I started going to community college like after high school.
Okay, yeah.
At first, I thought about joining the military for whatever reason.
Yeah, I thought I remembered you talking about that, or like you had also thought about being a police officer once, right?
Yeah, I thought about that at one point, but that was a little bit later in life. That wasn't like right after high school for a bit, but I thought about joining the military, and then I realized I was like, I'm not cut out for that.
Yeah,
not going to.
I feel that. Although Eli made me feel a little better about it. He said I could probably do it.
Yeah.
He said I could probably do the Air Force.
I think with the maturity level that we have now, we could do it.
Oh yeah.
Back then, like I would have been like the kid that drank 20 Red Bulls and had a heart attack.
That did happen. You did talk about that. Yeah. I was just talking about that too with like school. Like I was just that's why my dad and I were talking about that the other day. Is I told him I was like, if I go back to school now, like if I went to college now, I'd kill it. Like I think I'd do school well.
I think you learn to appreciate stuff more as you're older.
Yeah, I think when I was like 19, I didn't care. I wasn't interested in any of this. I didn't want to do it.
And that could be why certain like people in the military sometimes, have pretty good success because, they get in the military, they have to serve like a minimum of 4 years.
Yeah.
And then by that time, they're a litof bit older. They've seen some stuff, kind of learn a little bit more responsibility, I would say.
They grew up quick.
And then, they get college on the GI Bill most of the time.
Which is nice.
Yeah, which is super nice. I mean, it's pretty much the least you can do.
Yeah, that is. I think we could do a little more.
I think we could do a little more on that. But, basically, I mean, they go to college, and then I feel like a lot of people usually kind of do well because they got some of that initial like craziness out of them.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I've never really thought about that, but you might be on something there.
Yeah, I mean, I have a good idea every once in a while.
Yeah, every now and then. But okay, so you went to community college for a little bit, you said, right?
Yeah, for a little bit, but it was kind of the same thing where it was like, I didn't take it as seriously, I feel. Number one, because it was also kind of community college.
Yeah.
It was pretty much like high school,
right?
Except I didn't necessarily have.
Did you go to John Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, I did too. I wonder if we ever ran into each other. I didn't I knew you, but I didn't really. I don't think we ever really hung out.
It might have been like a say hey kind of thing,
maybe,
but it would have been like, hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't that big of a school, so that's just kind of funny.
Yeah, and you weren't really. Yeah, it was a very tiny community college. And it was just that one. You went to the Midlothian campus.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Same.
Also,
Weird.
It's now called Bright Point.
Yes, it is now called Bright Point. I'm sorry, John Tyler's racist or something.
Yeah, John Tyler was the president of the Confederacy, I believe. Or no, that's Jefferson Davis. Never mind.
Oh, right. Okay. So community college. You're going to Bright Point, or John Tyler, now Bright Point.
The college formerly known as John Tyler Community College.
Yeah, it turned itself into a symbol. And then, so like, what were you going to community college for? Did you like want to pursue something, or?
Well, I kind of had an idea for a focus in like finance or something, maybe. Okay. And I thought that was kind of like a broad enough term.
Yeah.
To be able to find something decent enough to do it. It actually kind of started because I thought at one point about getting into this was kind of tied back to the law enforcement stuff.
Okay.
Because my grandfather was in the FBI. Like
Okay.
the OG FBI,
Cool.
like new J. Edgar Hoover FBI.
Nice.
Yeah. I've got a signed picture of J. Edgar Hoover, like a portrait, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's signed to my grandfather.
That's
it's
really
like,
cool.
to Richard, Mr. Hoover.
Uh-huh.
And I was
Wow.
like, well, that's pretty cool.
That is
like they would
actually
like
pretty
walk
sweet.
in the hallway and like
Can
know
can
each
you-
other by name.
Yeah. Can I see that? Can you show it to me? Or
Yeah,
if you have
I
it?
should be able to find it somewhere.
Okay.
I think it's at my parents' house or something. I need to
Yeah.
find it.
if someone can send me a picture, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I won't put it anywhere, but
Oh
if
no,
you
that would
want
be cool. I mean, all it says is to Richard.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, I will put it somewhere if I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's a picture of J. Edgar Hoover, which I think you can find on Google, and then it just
Yeah.
says to Richard, J. Edgar Hoover.
Okay. Cool.
Okay,
But
interesting.
so your dad was, or your grandfather was in.
Yeah, the FBI, and I kind of had like an interest in like the stories and stuff that he would tell me.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, to get to the FBI, you need to start in some sort of law enforcement, and
Mhm.
then by FBI they require college degrees. And my dad was telling me, he was like, a lot of those guys actually kind of look like for accounting, like, or finance degrees and stuff.
Really?
Because there's a lot of white collar crime and stuff. Yeah,
guess.
investigated by the FBI and things.
Mhm.
So it's like not all like running out and catching bad guys like you see on TV.
True.
It's a lot of dudes sitting at desks.
It is a lot of white
And it's
collar
like
crimes.
It's like
okay.
this guy cheated on his taxes. Let's go get him, boys.
Is that what like forensic?
Like forensic accounting and
Yeah.
stuff.
Is that what that is?
It probably gets a little bit into it.
Okay.
But I think it's also because criminals are getting smart about hiding their money and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So they need people to dig through and be like, oh, this guy's laundering money through his
Yeah.
car wash. So
Oh,
at first, like when I went to John Tyler, I tried to go to finance because I eventually had that kind of idea.
Okay.
And then it was just, I started working and stuff, and eventually, political climates and everything started changing, and I was like,
Yeah.
police officer doesn't really sound as appealing anymore.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, because it's like, I could probably find something else that's a little bit less stress, better hours, and not getting screamed at by people.
Definitely a little
Potentially.
safer. And this is around like what 2017ish? No, 20.
This is like 2015-ish or
Okay.
so. So that was kind of like, and it really kind of started like with school because I just wasn't really doing super great. Again, I
Yeah.
think it was the whole thing where, you're fresh out of high school. If you got the mindset for college, more power to you.
Didn't I? Don't
Yeah.
know. I still don't know what I want to do.
Hey, you
know?
graduated at least.
I did, but barely. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't try at all.
Hey, well,
And I didn't go to a very big school. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt for right now. It wasn't a very big school.
shut up.
All right. So, I'm yelling into the mic. So, in college, we were John Tyler thinking about going into law enforcement. Didn't do that. Scary times, because of just political stuff and society in general. So, when you were in community college, I think you were working at this next place at the same time, right? When you were in school.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
I was.
So the next place was called what?
Wireless Advocates.
All right, cool.
It
And
was also known as the phone kiosk that used to be inside of Costco's.
all right, so you're one of the guys that were inside of Costco selling like Verizon phones, pretty much, or like AT&T.
Yeah, it was like, because we worked for a third-party company.
Mhm.
It was, Wireless Advocates, which sold like, Verizon. At first I started doing Verizon, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint, back when
Okay.
Sprint was still a thing.
Oh man,
And
remember
then,
Intellis?
yes, I do remember.
I had Intellis growing up, and that shit ruled. I was the only one who ever had service like on Boy Scout campouts and stuff like that. Yeah, but I wasn't supposed to have my phone, but I did.
I mean, I didn't have a phone until I was in like high school, so it didn't matter to me.
Right on. Well, I think I got mine in 6th grade. I want to say.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Fancy.
Well, my dad had a same number still. The
Oh, that's cool.
the phone that I was given and the number that I was given. It was a little flip phone,
Mhm.
and it was my dad's like business, like his work phone. But I think he got like a landline or something, so he gave it to me,
oh,
and
okay.
then that's how I got my first phone. It was my dad's old work phone. So I get like old contractors and stuff calling me all the time. They're like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hello."
And it's like, hey, I need to do some electrical work.
But so okay, so you're at Wireless Advocates,
Mhm.
which is the little phone kiosk inside Costco.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was still when they were doing like, I started when they were still doing like 2-year contracts and stuff, and they were just like, whatever the plan price was. And then
Okay.
they started switching it mostly because of fraud. And I'll tell you that in kind of a second.
fraud. There were people who were frauding.
Oh, dude,
Verizon?
fraud with phone companies and stuff like that was like crazy.
What?
Like, it's funny because a lot of like places that I've worked, with the exception of Cold Stone, I've always had to look out for fraud.
How do you fraud a the only thing I've ever done with telephone companies is give them money. They've never done the opposite.
No, because you got to think of kind of how it works. Like, part of the reason they stopped doing the kind of 2-year contract thing, and they still run into issues with it, but I don't think it's as bad with the 2-year contracts and stuff like that, is, you pay $200 for a $1,100 iPhone or something like that. You just got to, be on their service for 2 years before you can leave or keep your phone or anything. Technically, the phone still belongs to them until the contract's up.
Uh-huh.
So the thing is that people would do, if they didn't give a crap about their credit or anything like that, you could go in, open a 4-line account, get the newest best iPhones or something like that, and you pay maybe $600 for like 4 iPhones worth $4,000.
Whoa.
And if you don't care about your credit, you never touch that bill again. The thing is that they ship those things overseas and stuff like that. And I mean, you can take you could take the SIM cards and stuff like that out, and pretty much just like put a new SIM card in it and sell it overseas. Somebody will pay a lot more money probably than it's actually worth. But if you didn't care about your credit, like I had to go through trainings and stuff to be on the lookout for frauds.
Yeah, and people probably get like fake social security numbers and stuff too and do it that way.
I mean, they very well could, or use like a relatives or a deceased person or something.
Yeah, true. I just saw somebody on Instagram. I don't remember who it was, but somebody just got their social security number stolen on the dark web.
Oh,
and I was like, damn, that sucks.
That is unfortunate for the world that we live in.
Good luck to whoever you were, you poor soul. That's all.
You're not him now.
Yeah, you're not him anymore. Your identity's gone.
Somebody took that.
I think it was a lady. Sorry, lady. So, wireless advocates. Did you know that one time your boss sold me a phone? Not this phone. Maybe the one before it. He was a cool guy.
He was a natural born salesman. Like he was just super chill.
Remember what his name was?
Ren.
What was it?
Ren.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was short for Warren.
Oh, Warren. Okay, yeah, because it was WREN, right?
No, I think it was.
Well, that's cool.
Well, shoot, now I can't remember.
All right. Well, anyway.
But yeah, shout out to like the second best boss I ever had.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah, he was a cool guy. So he sold me a phone once. He during COVID. The reason I remember him, I think, is because during COVID, he had some kind of setup where he had to talk to people all day long.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about. I saw him wearing that. He was wearing like a spray painter's mask.
It was
wearing
wild.
Like a painter's mask.
Yeah, it was like a painter's mask, but it had like speakers on it, like on the sides. So it was like a Bane. It was like a Bane mask from.
So you want to buy a cell phone?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So he was doing that, and it had like speakers like here and here, and that's how. And he would like. I think he was like talking to. I guess there was a microphone inside or something.
I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild setup for a guy.
That was well after I worked there, but yeah, I guess that he must have been really concerned. Talking to people every day
for sure.
That he would get sick. So
could be
more power to him.
Understandable. He looked like a spaceman. But
I remember seeing that one time. Like when I went shopping there during COVID, I was like, "What the heck is he wearing?"
It looked like Darth Vader. It was it was cool. But I think honestly that's what convinced me to buy the phone.
Probably it was like this guy seems pretty cool.
Yeah. So maybe I should start wearing those on my sales calls.
I mean, you could.
So how long do you work there?
So I worked there. I think that was about 3 years. I think it was like
3 years.
Yeah, I think it was about 20.
Holy shit.
Oh no, it was. Oh no, shoot! It must have been. No, I think it was because I think it was like 2014-ish to like 2016.
Okay.
So like 2-3 years almost.
Yeah, that makes sense. A
lot of Costco hot dogs fell victim to my lunch break.
Costco hot dogs. $1.50. I think it's $1.50, right? You got a hot
like
dog.
$1.50 for like a foot-long beef hot dog and a drink, dude.
And they're so good. And you burp, like you'll taste it. If you burp, you'll taste it for 3 days.
Oh yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, when you were super poor like I was, you could savor that for like 2 days.
Yeah, easily. It's $1.50. You get a drink and a hot dog. Costco, sponsor us. But so you were there for 3 years or 2 years? 3 years?
Yeah, almost 3 years.
Okay, man, that's a good run for.
Yeah, and it was really good because I mean I was working there part time and I really wanted to go like full time. But there just weren't any positions open for full time, and I was like, "Well, I need something full time. I need benefits. I need."
So you were doing part time for 2 years, 2 years?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years.
Wow, I didn't know. Okay, so what was the schedule like? Was it like?
I mean, I worked a lot of weekends.
Okay,
but I mean, it would usually be like maybe like a Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing.
Okay,
and it would usually kind of be like more towards the evenings and stuff.
That's the business because you were in a Costco.
Yeah, I was in a Costco, so like the weekends are super busy, and then usually kind of like after work is busy.
Okay,
like a lot of people coming in after work and stuff like that.
Yeah, Costco. I think everyone knows what Costco is, but if you're
it's a warehouse store like Sam's Club or BJ's Wholesale.
Yeah, like a bulk buy grocery store.
Yeah, they're nationwide. I think people. Okay. If you don't know what a Costco is, please like go outside.
Hey, I had one listener in like Bangalore or something. Singapore, whatever. I don't know.
I was about to say Bangalore.
They may not know. They may not know what Costco is.
I think Bangalore was an explosive that they used during World War II.
That's possible, but it sounds cool. But anyway, okay. So you had a good run there, and then you just were working part time. Kind of felt like it was time to.
Yeah, I felt like it was time to move, and also it was like this is gonna sound really bad, but my dad was taking me off the insurance.
Yeah.
Because I had an older sister, and so with all 4 of us on there, he's got to pay the family plan pricing.
Right.
But she was getting ready to age out because I think the healthcare system at that time you could keep your children on your plane until they were like 28 or something.
I think it's 25 or 26.
Yeah, maybe 26 was what. Yeah, but my sister was, about to age out of that. So then my dad was like, okay, well then I'd still be paying for a family plan, or both my kids could get the hell off my insurance at the same time, and then I could just play for a husband and wife plan.
Yeah, and John is on his own.
Yep, and he was like, well, sounds like you need to get a full-time job. You're out there living on your own, but I think it's time for you to spread your wings and fly.
That sounds like a second child and a son.
Yep, also true. Very true. So I was looking for full-time, but I mean, I loved the job. I loved what I did, and I loved my boss and everything, but it was just like they didn't have anything available for me. Right. So I was like, shoot. So I knew somebody who was working at the time at CarMax.
Nice. All right, cool. So CarMax was your next spot after
and I just thought to myself, I love cars, and I'm getting more into learning about them and all that sort of stuff, and it was like, I don't think that would be too big of a problem.
Yeah, I could see the leap. And CarMax, I mean, it's a pretty well-known company too.
Yeah.
What'd you do there? So were you just a salesperson?
Or? Yeah, I was a salesperson there.
Okay. And I know that CarMax has like internet sales and they have like in-person sales. Did you
They've gotten
both, or?
They've gotten a lot more sophisticated since I worked there, because that was, COVID has forced a lot of like evolution in business and stuff. Point. But before, when I worked there, because this was like 2016 or so, I mean, there was still kind of stuff online. I don't think it was to the point where, you can get like pre-qualified, like fill out a credit application online and stuff, and, talk to a salesperson and get an appointment in.
I think you can pretty much, like nowadays, I think you can just, I think you don't ever have to talk to a person, I don't think. And you have 7 days to be like, please don't come back, please don't come back.
If you get a return, then all of a sudden you've lost your money that you made on your commission.
Fuck,
and you're like,
I already spent that.
Damn it.
Yeah, I just bought dinner for the next week. God dang it, I just got groceries.
It's like, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's rough. Well, so, all right, so you sold pretty much just people would come in and you'd be like, hey, you want a car?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you'd work, they had like an internet office, what they called it. Like
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, the bullpen in the back where you could sit on the phone and people calling for credit applications, and then you talk to them, make an appointment, they come in, and if they buy a car from you, obviously.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. Were you living on your own at this point too?
Yeah, so I was living on my own at that point.
Okay, well, with a roommate.
Yeah, but still super poor.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I can relate.
So like the nice kind of first world poor where you don't have any money, but you also have an Xbox and a smartphone.
Yeah. I got a house, but I got like nothing else.
Yeah, I'm just good like that.
You are CarMax.
Yeah. So I worked there doing sales and stuff like that. Pretty standard stuff. People come in, talk to them about what they want. Usually you kind of have like an idea, like somebody comes in, they're like, oh yeah, I'm looking for a vehicle. I want it to be like reliable, blah, 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 blah. Some people come in, and it shocked me that people would come in and they wouldn't really know exactly what they wanted.
That's wild to me.
Like, to me, like a big purchase, like if I'm buying something even for like $20 off of Amazon, I'm going to research the crap out of it.
How many people would also like just kind of show up and meander around? Because I'm guilty of going to CarMaxes and just kind of walking around and checking.
They had kind of a process for it, as far as like, because people would come in, especially like younger people and stuff like that. They come in and they're like, they look and they want to see like, the coolest, fanciest car.
Yeah, show me the Porsche.
Like, I want to take this for a test drive.
Give me that 911.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, I don't know how to they teach you, because they tell you to look out exactly for that. They're like, don't just let people come in and test drive stuff.
Yeah.
Like, try and talk to them first. Get them to try and run like a credit application before you actually get like anybody in the car.
Try and figure out how serious they actually are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some people you could tell, it's like, when you start talking about that stuff, they just kind of back off.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you just wanted to test drive a nice car.
Yeah.
Like, not doing that.
You know what we should have been doing when you were working there? Is if you needed to like go get lunch or something, you and I should have come up there and be like, let's test drive. Let's go to lunch. And then you and me just go fuck off and go get lunch for an hour.
Yeah, just like, game the system that way.
Yeah, we could have done that. I could have come up each, once a week and been like, let's Challenger. Let's take that Audi. Let's go. What was the coolest car that you? Well, okay, let me ask you this first. Were you good at it? Were you a good car salesman?
No.
All right, cool.
I'll say that right into the microphone. My wife has told me now, she's like, I'm surprised that you were in sales for as long as you were, because you are not a good salesman.
I don't know how
I can talk to people. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I cannot convince people to buy stuff.
That's
when they don't want it.
My problem is I'm dumb, so I can talk to people too, but I don't know. I can talk to people too, but I can't be like, you need to buy this and this is why. I can be like, yo,
no, I can.
Did you see the game last night?
I can give you pros and cons and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, if it's like, so what do you think? And you're like, I'm not interested. That's pretty much where I cut off.
That's where I'm like, all right,
okay,
cool.
Well, have a nice life. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I'm the least pushy salesperson of all time.
Yeah.
I send emails. I'm like, hey, here's this thing. Let me know if you have any interest. And then if someone's like, yeah, I'm interested, then I'll be like, would you like a sample? I'll never be like, hey, I got,
But sales is like, you have to be the right blend of like, kind of like pushy, I guess you could kind of call it. But at the same time, like, you can't like just bombard people and be like, you're going to buy this before you leave here, because nobody likes that.
No, you can't be too pushy. You got to be, I would say, persistent, and you got to be in the right place in the right time.
Yeah.
You got to be lucky. With sales is a lot of luck.
You've also got to be talk about committed.
That. Yeah. People never talk about that, but it takes a lot of commitment. You're right. It also takes a lot of luck. A lot of luck in sales.
Because I think that there's a lot of salespeople that, all they do is like work.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah, especially like with CarMax, part of the problem is that, like you're not working every single day. You can't work every day.
Right.
But you're working around other people's schedules, and they're making a pretty big decision. So they might be like, hey, like I'm taking off of work to come buy the car today or something. Like this is the only day that I have off. This is the only day I get off or whatever. And if you're not working that day, you either like have to come in just to sell the car,
really,
or you have to get somebody else to do it for you, and then you have to split the commissions.
That sucks. And the commissions weren't. I remember y'all talking about it.
It's not like based on the price of the car. It's like a flat commission,
right? Which was like $300 or something.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you sell enough cars, you can be really good
for sure.
But like, there's a guy there who is always like top sales and stuff like that.
But how many cars are you gonna sell in a day?
I don't know. We made a joke that he lived in the van parked out in the employee parking lot.
Maybe he did,
because I mean, that dude was there like every single day, and he would come in just for an hour, like just to sell a car.
Were you? Yeah, how'd that go? Were you like? Did you have a schedule, or were like?
Yes, it was a set schedule. Like you has to still work like a regular, like a certain shift, and they were open kind of late, so you either had like open kind of shift or like the close shift. So there was, I think it was either like 8 to 6 or like 11 to 9.
Okay. So, and you guys kind of, when you sold a car, that'd be like an all day thing too, right? It'd be like you sold a car,
usually it's like you can kind of sell like multiple cars in a day, like depending on how everything goes. Because some people come in, they know what they want, they've seen the car, they just really kind of want to drive it.
Yeah.
Some people have their own financing, so that was great because somebody would come in and be like, "Hey, I see that you got this like 2015 Chevy Silverado out there. I've looked at it online. I want to drive it and see if I like it."
Yeah.
And then you take them for a test drive. They come back and they're like, "Okay, I'm already pre-approved through Virginia Credit Union or whatever their bank is." And they're like, "Yeah, I just have to get a final number bill of sale from you, fax it to them, and they'll fax a check."
Okay. They do their own financiers.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
They would be cake.
I think that's how I did it for my truck. When I bought I didn't buy it through CarMax. I did it but there were some people that had like 20% interest.
Oh God, there were some people that couldn't get approved, and then there's other people that are trying to buy like a $6,000 car, and they come back and it's like they want $4,000 down, a 28% APR, and you got to get like bank statements and proof of residencies and all this sort of stuff.
How does it get to that point? How does it
it's
get
probably
that
the
bad?
people that were stealing phones.
True, good point. Yeah, same people. I'm noticing a similar clientele here. Huh. All right. What was the most cars you sold in one day, do you think?
One day?
Yeah.
Oh, God, probably never more than, I mean, I might have gotten lucky and sold like 2.
Yeah.
Usually if I had them kind of lined up.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's the other thing is that, like, you try and line people up. So it's like, I'm pretty guaranteed to sell a car then.
Yeah, okay. I just remember my granddaddy you helped my granddaddy, well, wait. Actually, I think you helped my granddaddy almost buy a car once.
That sounds probably about right. I feel like I did.
You did for sure. He remembers your name.
Okay. I mean, yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he was gonna buy a car from you, and then he ultimately decided to go elsewhere. Nothing to do with you.
I think I remember this because I feel like you told me that he told you to apologize. To me.
Yeah. He had you on the line for. I feel like he had you on the line for a good month or so, and then and then he went somewhere else and got a Ford Intrepid or whatever. What do cops drive?
Taurus?
Yeah, Ford Taurus. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of.
Yeah, but anyway. So, all right. So CarMax, and you were there for what, about a year, you said? Year or two?
Yeah, about a year or so. I think that it was just, I realized that, I'm not a great salesperson as far as like trying to make a living off of commission only sales.
Yeah, lived on just commissions. It is tough. That's what I did in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I had just commissions. It sucked. I didn't like it.
It's a rough deal, bud.
Yeah, it was scary. All right. So you left just because you couldn't, you like sustain yourself off commissions. Sales is hard. I completely understand. I used to not have this much gray hair. I used to have a lot more hair too. Anyway,
same.
So the next place you went to, I can relate because I worked here. Eli worked here. A couple other people worked here.
Yeah.
What was the next place you went to?
So the next place I went to is Fastenal.
Yeah, Fastenal.
Oh,
we're back.
Fastenal.
We made it back.
Industrial construction supplies, baby.
Oh yeah. So what was your role at Fastenal? What did you do?
So that was like an inside store not even manager, like inside store sales.
Okay.
Like inside sales, I think might have been what they called it.
Inside sales. Okay.
I didn't really have to sell anything. It was really just I made like a certain percentage off of what the store made.
They call it a counter sales, I think, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Store sales, counter sales, whatever they wanted to call it.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I was
You were outside.
I was outside sales rep. Yeah.
Yeah, and you made a lot more commission off of like the growth and everything.
I was supposed to. I mean, me personally, I didn't, but you're supposed to, in theory. Yeah. So I was usually like out of the store. I'd get there at like 7 a.m. Ish. My boss would yell at me for a little bit, and then I would leave for.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and then I would leave for 7 hours, and I'd come back at like 4. And
no, I was stuck in the store all day.
Oh, you were? Okay, you were stuck in the store all day. Did you have to go do deliveries or anything?
I would sometimes just to get out of the store. Like if somebody was working on something.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, the sales guy and the manager are working on quotes or stuff like that. Can you run this out to this person, restock this vending machine or something like that?
Yeah. How long did you work in the store for?
Well, I worked in the store the whole time. I just bounced around to a couple different stores.
Oh, did you really? I didn't know that.
District. I started at the Laburnum store.
Okay.
And then I went to Midlothian, and then I went to Chester.
Okay. I worked at the Williamsburg one, so you never worked Okay, yeah.
No, I never had to go there.
Kind of far away from Richmond anyway.
Just a little bit.
Nice. All right, so you were the inside store guy. I was outside sales. So my store guy, his name was Mario. Shout out Mario.
I actually think that I met him one time.
Did you really?
I think so, because I think that we went to a training in North Carolina.
Really? Okay. He was cool. Yeah. He bald.
I think so. He was
Hispanic dude.
Yeah, I was about to say Hispanic dude, Italian, something like that.
Yeah.
Snores like a dang freight train.
Does he snore? He looks like he would snore.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because the company never paid for like separate rooms for people.
No. Oh, were you his roomie?
Yeah, I was his roommate.
What are the odds of that?
Even when I went to Georgia, I still had a roommate.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? Like,
oh, you know what? Yeah, fast now I had a roommate too. Dude, I had a roommate. It was this old dude. I think his name was Greg or Craig or something like that.
Oh boy. He
was built like a brick shit house. I mean, like this metal, he was thick. He was a big dude, yeah. And I was his roommate. I've never heard a louder snoring. I've never heard a louder. It sounded like your motorcycle. Like it sounded like a Harley. Like
he probably should have traveled with a CPAP. And he didn't.
For sure. I could feel like the mattress vibrate when he snored. I'm not joking. I could feel it. It was so loud. I went down to the lobby at like 2 a.m. and I was like, "There's got to be another room. I'll pay for it. I don't care." And they were all full up, and I was like, "There's nothing I can do." And so I think I just like found a chair in the lobby that first night, and I just kind of laid there. And I was up till like, I don't know, 5 a.m. And then he just came down and he was like, "Hey, where'd you go? Where you been?" He didn't have any idea. Yeah. And I told him, and he was like, "I'm so sorry." And the next day I got like headphones and stuff like that. So it was all good. But even through the headphones, I could still hear him.
Yeah,
it was very loud. That was the loudest person I've ever heard. Yeah, it was insane.
That's also, I feel like that's one of the few companies that I've heard of. Like, you travel for a training or something, have to stay in a hotel, and you get a roommate.
Fastenal,
like a person that you've never met.
Yeah, as an adult man.
Yeah,
yeah. They did not treat their employees the best, but hey, whatever. I
mean, it depends on what you did for them, but like I personally just couldn't get with it, and I was not a fan of it. So eventually, that's how I found my way to Elephant.
Okay, so next place was Elephant that you went to.
Yep, that was where I went directly from Fastenal. So I did the inside sales thing. Didn't really get a whole lot of places, and just was like, time for something else.
Yeah, it was a job to kind of just pay the bills until you found whatever.
Pretty much, yeah. It was just like it paid the bills for long enough, and then I was like, want to actually get into something that I think I might be able to do well at.
Yeah.
And then Eli, we already knew worked there.
Right, that's right. Yeah, Eli. So Eli also worked at Elephant. Is that how you got the job?
So that was how I found out about the company and kind of what he was doing and everything.
Okay.
And at the time, he was doing the desk review auditing, which is the step before what we do now.
Okay, so it's a step down from what he's at.
Essentially, yeah. Okay. Because it was kind of like, it was different but similar. It wasn't as involved as what we do now.
Same but different.
Yeah, same but different.
Same but different.
It's like sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Yeah.
But he was just like, he would get an estimate from a body shop, and he just had to look it over and like, try and make sure that compared to the pictures of the damaged cars that, it seemed pretty copacetic and in our guidelines of what we had for our contracted shops and stuff like that.
Okay, that's what Eli was doing.
Yeah, that's what he was doing at the time. So he was telling me about it, and I was like, "Oh, well, what you do sounds really cool." And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, you got to start at kind of like at the bottom, because I came from a company where I was already doing this kind of stuff."
That's right, because he was at Farm Bureau.
Yeah, Virginia Farm Bureau.
Yep.
So he was like, I was already kind of like doing this, so that's how I got the job where I am now. But you can get in and you can kind of start out, and then you probably could get onto the team and stuff like that where I'm working now. And so got in, started by answering phones and, doing basic level claim handling stuff, like handling the small potato stuff where it was like, oh, this guy ran into me at a stoplight, or I hit a tree.
Okay. You would do the initial, like when people got in an accident and they called in.
Yeah, I did that for the bit.
Okay.
For a beginning, yeah. I would start the process and just kind of fill out the basic information, be like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And, just kind of go about that info. And then I got to the point where I was like doing more basic level claims, like
Yeah.
simple liability is what they call it.
Okay.
So it's like, somebody rear ends somebody else when it's pretty cut and dry as far as who's at fault, or, like you hit a deer,
Okay.
run into a tree.
So this is your second job here now.
Yeah, that was the second position that I had.
Okay. So first one was
just answering the phones and filling out the info.
Okay. Basically like an intake
Yeah,
type.
pretty much. They called it first notice of loss.
Okay. All right. And then second position was called what?
Was like a claims adjuster level 1.
Claims
or
adjuster.
something.
Okay.
Yeah, so a claims adjuster was technically what that second part was.
Okay, that's the next step.
Yeah.
So we had another friend that worked at Elephant too, not Eli, but she did the same thing as you.
She did the same thing that I did at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
Because she was hoping that it would be like me, because I moved up relatively fast as far as like when I started and when I got to the job that Eli had at that time. Because I started there in like September, and by like February, March, I was on the team with Eli.
Okay.
So I moved up like a couple positions during that time.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Just luckily, I mean, I kept just trying to do well and set myself out different from other people and everything. And I had mechanical and car knowledge already. And so when a position opened up, luckily pretty soon on his team, I managed to jump in there and got that. And then I became a desk review auditor.
Okay. And that's what you're currently doing? Or
no, that was what me and Eli both did first.
Okay. I got you. Sorry.
Yeah, so I worked my way up to there. He got in at that level just because he was already doing it with the other company.
Okay, I got you.
So I worked up to that, luckily, because stuff kept opening up and I just kept, having opportunities to grow. And then I started doing that. And then after a couple of years, positions opened up on the team that we're on now.
Yes. Did you have to interview for them, or did someone like tap you and be like, hey, okay?
No, they still opened the position internally and you had to apply for it and interview for it and everything like that.
Okay. So in grand total, how long have you been at Elephant now?
For years? Now, it'll be 6 years in September of this year.
Wow. Okay.
So it's been a little bit over 5 years now. Yeah.
I can't believe it. How long? I think Eli started there before you, so he's about
he started there like
6-7 years.
Yeah, probably like a year almost before me.
Okay.
So he's probably coming up on 7 before too long.
That's wild. Hey, and also I just remember we had another friend that worked there too, Dale. Dale worked there for not long.
A little bit.
A minute. Yeah. He worked there for a minute.
Yeah.
But
not due to any fault of his, just he decided to leave.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you seem to like Elephant though. So what are you doing now? What's your role now?
So now
that was role 2.
Yeah. Okay. So it was, answering the phones, simple claims, desk review stuff, which, like I said, was just not as involved as what I'm doing now. Now I'm a virtual staff appraiser is what they call it.
Virtual staff appraiser. Okay.
Yeah, they call it a virtual staff appraiser because technically the staff appraisers are guys that they still have on the road that get in the car, drive to where the damage is.
Which is kind of what Eli was talking about doing.
Yeah, that's kind of what he was doing with on the farm bureau. Yeah.
Okay.
But he was talking about there are positions where you can kind of do that independently.
Okay, yeah. He was talking about kind of doing his own, like starting his own business and doing something like that on the side, maybe.
Yeah, and there's potential for that too.
Nice.
Because I mean, there's certain times that more and more insurance companies are getting away from like actual like physical inspections and stuff like that. Like they used to just always like have a team of guys that somebody got into an accident and they would just out. Send a guy out and they show up, take photos, write up an estimate, and give it to you there.
Sounds like it'd be kind of a cool job, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at one point, I mean, that was pretty much the place to be as far as the insurance adjuster game.
Yeah, people can do like 3. I mean, there's crazy stuff you can do now. It's like 3D scans of cars and things like just upload it basically. And then Eli mentioned too about that technology that like all the traffic lights and cameras and stuff. Yeah. And I don't know. So
that's more for like the claims side of it, but we use it a lot too. Just because it kind of goes back to, like I was talking about, pretty much every job I've had except for Cold Stone, you had to look out for fraud in some way.
Bunch of fucking fraudsters out there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Everybody's trying to get you.
Yeah, but insurance fraud, is actually the main type of fraud that kind of people recognize.
I do believe that. I do it all the time. I mean, no, I don't. Okay, cool. So do you think you're going to be doing this job for a while? What are you thinking?
I think so, because I mean, I love it. And I mean, Elephant's a great company to work for, and they've given me so many opportunities and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think that it's definitely something that I could see myself doing just because, I mean, it's something that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like you do.
Yeah, it's never boring, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, people would think that it's like boring working for an insurance company and stuff. Yeah. It's like, dude, I see so much like crazy stuff.
Well, yeah, Eli mentioned like an Amish buggy or not Amish, the other ones.
No, I think I heard this part. I think that it is Amish.
Is it? Okay.
Because Mennonites can drive cars.
Yeah, Mennonites can drive cars. They can use electricity.
Mennonites can use more technology than Amish can. Yeah. Even Amish have unfortunately been kind of caught by the times, because another thing is like most of the buggies and stuff like that, because of like DOT rules and stuff,
true.
They have to have lights, and they also have to have Pretty much all of them, I think, have electric motors in them.
Do they really?
Yeah, because I mean, you can't rely on like, what if the piece that connects, the horses to the buggy breaks?
True.
Or for some reason,
Your
horse is tired.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case, or he gets hurt and you can't pull a thing. It's like you can't be stuck in the roadway, especially because something like what Eli had happen will happen.
Yeah, of course.
It's like you got a buggy stuck in the roadway. Like, yeah, most of them have lights and stuff like that now, but are you really paying too much attention to a buggy stopped in the middle of the road?
I'm not. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I think most of them actually have electric motors now, so they can operate under their own power to get out of the roadway, so they're not a hazard.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Huh. So, well, he's seen Amish buggies. What have you seen? What's the coolest thing you've seen?
Oh man, see, he got the really cool, like the really kind of oddball one.
Yeah, you can. Have you seen any buggies yourself?
No, I actually haven't seen any buggies or anything like that. I mean, I've seen some weird stuff.
Monster truck.
No, I mean, I've seen some pretty I've definitely seen cars that I also feel like it's like, why do we have insurance?
What are we doing here? Just a piece of junk.
It's both ends of the scale.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's like, it's absolute total piece of junk.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I check the value or something on it, then it comes back and says that it's a salvage title, so it was a prior total loss probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the car is just absolutely beat to crap, and every panel is a different color. But then, just the other day, I had a 2024 BMW M8 Competition Grand Coupe.
Whoa! And you all insured that,
$100,000+ car.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And I was like, this is a bold move.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting.
I was like, I hope that this guy's premium is worth it.
Definitely. Anything crazy? Any McLarens or Ferraris or anything like that? Or bikes? Do you guys do bikes, motorcycles?
No, we don't do motorcycles. But I mean, me and Eli have kind of become the de facto motorcycle guys sometimes.
That's true. Yeah.
We don't have the estimating software to be able to write motorcycle claims and stuff.
Right.
And we don't insure motorcycles.
Okay. I forgot that you also ride bike. When did you start riding motorcycles?
So that was 2016 or 17 actually.
Okay. Around getting out of. So I was around college, getting out of college age. So
kind of getting out of college age.
19, 20, somewhere around.
Yeah, somewhere around that. I always just was really interested in stuff like that. So I bought my first bike for super cheap, rode that around for a while, and then eventually it was a 2004 Kawasaki Ninja 250.
Nice. Is that a crotch rocket or?
It's kind of more of a sport bike, I guess you want to call it.
Sport bike.
But it was also a 250cc. I mean, they make dirt bikes bigger than that.
Okay. Yeah. I actually remember this. I remember that bike.
Yeah, because Roscoe, your dog, bit my head off because I showed up on that thing and he was like, I don't like that guy.
I remember
He's suspicious.
that was at my college graduation party. So there you go.
Yeah,
that was around 22ish, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember that bike. So then you've had 2-3 Harleys since then?
No, I'm just on my second one.
On your second Harley? Okay, cool. And you just bought that a year ago?
Yeah, it was actually no, it was almost 3 years ago.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was 22, I think, when I bought it.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. We weren't living together. It was after we.
That was after we had lived together. And
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because I had my first Harley when I lived with you, and that was a great bike. It was just, eventually I, started dating my wife, got married, and she eventually came around on the bike. No, she eventually came around on it because at first she was like, I'm never riding on that thing. And now it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. She hated that thing.
She hated them. And now it's like, she's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, now she's all about them.
Yeah, now she's like, yeah, we'll go on a ride. Hey, you want to go on a ride?
Yeah, she's asking you to go on. Okay, all right.
Yeah, she'll ask me to go on a ride. We haven't been in a while just because the weather hasn't been warm.
It fucking sucks.
And because she hasn't been able to ride the whole time she was pregnant.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was pregnant for the last 9 months.
Yeah.
11 months.
Yeah. Or she was only pregnant for 9 months, but then we've been dealing with the baby since then.
Right.
And it's been cold as all get out. So
yeah. True.
Haven't had an opportunity yet, but yeah, just time to get something a little bit bigger, a little bit newer.
Yeah.
And then I ended up with my Street Glide, and I love that thing.
Nice. You didn't drive it here, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. So I can ask you this question: have you ever had Eli fucked up once on a bike? Pretty bad. Have you ever had any close calls or anything like that?
I mean, I've had close calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going to have that.
I remember that one
motorcycles
Whole Street incident where
where I dropped my bike.
Yeah,
that wasn't as severe.
Yeah,
it was just because I was going. I didn't know exactly where the turnoff for that place was, and I turned off of a paved road into a gravel parking lot.
Yep.
And loose surfaces on two wheels are not fun.
They're no good.
So that was no bueno.
Yeah.
And they just poured a bunch of gravel, so it was like a runaway truck ramp.
That sucks.
So I turned into it, and it was just my bike sank, and I tried to turn.
Yeah.
And I just turned the handlebars, it dug straight into the gravel, and I just rolled off of it.
Oh my gosh, that sucks. And what a worse. I've also laid down a bike once. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did. I did it in a school parking lot, I believe. That little Honda Shadow I had for like a month.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
I don't remember you doing that, but I remember that bike.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody was with me or not. I might have
just taking it up there by yourself.
Certainly not just go by myself. Maybe, yeah, I must have just gone by myself. I don't know. But yeah, I laid it down and I was like, oh, that's not good. And then just picked it back up and I was like, all right, it's fine. It was a piece of shit bike anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's slow speed, I mean, it's not usually too terrible.
No, it was
and they make all sorts of guards and stuff you can get for it so that you're not going to mess it up too bad.
I think I bought that bike for like $1,000 or something.
Yeah, I bought mine for like $1,200, but the thing was that my bike had 72 miles.
Well,
like 72, that was it.
You're talking about your first bike?
Yeah, my first.
Okay. Yeah. 72 miles, that's pretty good. Mine had a lot more.
Yeah, 2004. The thing had 72 miles on it. I bought it from a guy who bought it. It was really sad. He bought it brand new to learn how to ride with his dad, and his dad passed away. So he put like 72 miles on it, parked it, and stuck it in the garage, and I just bought it off of him. Just had to do some work to it, got it running. Yeah. Put a couple thousand miles on it.
That broke my heart. I gotta pee. Do you mind if I take a break?
Yeah, no, go for it.
Hell yeah. Yo, pardon the interruption. This episode of Work Friends is brought to you by Fat Skippy, Richmond's premier classic rock and country cover band. Whether you're into classic rock anthems or country favorites, Fat Skippy delivers an unforgettable live music experience. Plus, a huge shout out to them for providing the microphones and audio cables for the podcast. Am I in this band? Yes. Does this still count as a sponsor? Also, yes. Anyway, check them out on Facebook to see where they're playing next and support local music. It's Fat Skippy. Check this out on Facebook. Thank you. Back to the show. And we're back, and we got all our pee out. Probably, I think. Okay, so that was your first bike, and then you bought your first Harley when you were living with me.
Yep.
And then sold that one when you moved in with your now wife, right?
Yeah. No, we moved in just a little bit after COVID. We got engaged while I was still living with roommates, and she had actually just bought her own house.
I was a roommate.
Yeah, you were a roommate. Yeah. But when she was working her job and everything like that, doing great, and she managed to save enough money to be able to buy her own house.
That's pretty stellar.
Yeah, she bought a house completely by herself. In 2019, we were like 26 or 25 almost, I want to say.
2019 was even younger than that.
It was 6 years ago.
24,
25.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I forgot how old I was for a second. Yeah, 24, 25. Yeah,
24,
right.
25. So she bought her first house all by herself.
She bought it before I bought this one.
Damn, yeah, she did.
25 when I bought this, I think. So.
Okay, yeah, so probably just around the same time. So congrats to you both.
Oh, thanks. She did it first, though.
Okay, that's cool. But yeah, she had bought her own house, and I mean, I spent most of my time over there anyway. So when my lease was up, moved in, and we were already engaged. Nice. So we had done that. Shout out to you for letting me borrow your truck, by the way, for that.
Where'd you do that? You did it at Longwood, right?
Yeah, I did it at Longwood. Yeah,
shout out Longwood.
Shout out to Longwood. Yeah, because she went there, so she went on a trip with her friends that I had secretly coordinated.
Pretty cool. Really bothers me, by the way, how your now wife went to Longwood, how Eli's now wife went to Longwood, how I went to Longwood.
Matt's girlfriend went to Longwood.
Matt's girlfriend. Oh, yeah. That's right. Oh, man. Anyway.
It's all connected, man.
I didn't hang out with any of you. Yeah, it is all connected. I didn't hang out with a single one of you until well after college. So that sucks. But hey, whatever.
You didn't miss a lot.
I was lame in college. I didn't do shit. I had a girlfriend the whole time, so I just hung out with her. Pretty much. Played video games.
Says me, the now married guy, but
whatever. Let's see. So anyway, you moved in with Kennedy, and then she sold that house, right?
Yeah. So we lived there for a few years.
And then after y'all got married,
after we got married, we stayed there for a couple of years, and the market was really was good for sellers, not so great for buyers. Yeah. But I mean, what can you really do? But the house appreciated so much, and we were ready to kind of start the next chapter of our life. And we loved that house. It was just, the thing was 1,200 square feet.
The house was about the same as this one. But
mine was also built like in 1959.
Yeah, I was gonna say yours is a little older.
Yeah, I think it's a little older.
I think this one was built in like 1980, but they just redid it.
But it's been remodeled. Yeah, ours, the newest. I mean, ours was like quote unquote had some remodeling stuff done, but it was also like a flipper.
Yeah, true.
Like it wasn't a super bad job, but it was just annoying things that I noticed like after living there. Yeah. I was like
things that were like done kind of not half-assed, but like could have done better.
It was like what?
Yeah, it was like why'd you do that? Yeah, I got things like that with this house too. It's the same shit.
Like our house was on a well, but for some reason instead of putting, usually they put a submersible pump in the well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it's pulling water and pushing it up to your house. For some reason, this guy, I don't know if he cheaped out or it's always been like that or what the heck the deal was, but there was a pump under the house that had to pull the water all the way from the well like 100 feet away from the house.
Okay.
Had to pull it 40 feet out of the ground, 100 feet to the house,
Seems
instead
like
of just pushing it out directly from the water in the well. It's a lot easier to do it that way.
Seems like a lot of extra work.
And so the pump went out. We were showering one day, and all of a sudden, this water freaking cut off.
Oh yeah.
And we dealt with that for like almost a year.
What do you mean? Oh yeah.
Like on and off water issues.
Right. You became like a DIY plumber pretty much.
Yeah, I somehow became like Joe the plumber because I was like,
This is
I was
when
like, I'm not paying
Kentucky,
thousands of dollars for I think this is while you're still living in Kentucky.
I think so too.
I was like, I'm not paying thousands of dollars for a plumber to come out here. So I crawled into the house for like 12 hours, figured it out with the help of friends and, phoning friends. I felt like I was like, who wants to be a millionaire? And I'm like calling everybody, trying to figure out like, what do I need to do to prime a jet pump? And so I figured that out. I spent enough time under there to actually start to become a semi-decent plumber.
I noticed you didn't call me for help. What was that about?
I think it was probably
what the hell, man. You don't. Well, all right. Yeah, you're right. I guess. Lucky guess.
I mean, I could have called you eventually. Yeah. I just had other people first that knew that I knew what they were talking about.
All right, I can't fault
you. If I had called you and you did know how to prime a jet pump, I'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it would be cool. I wish I knew.
It would have been a cool story.
I'm gonna look it up after this.
But I dealt with that on and off, and then eventually, paid a guy at a well company to come out, and I just paid him cash kind of under the table. Well, not really under the table. It was like formal work, but I guess they were such like a locally owned company that they were really cool to work with.
Okay.
It wasn't like they came out and they're like, yeah, it'll be exactly this much. It was like, yeah, it'll probably be around this. And I'd be like, I have cash. And they'd be like, okay, we can do this.
What the name of the company was? You shout out Matthews.
Virginia.
There you go. Say it one more time. I cut you off.
Yeah, shout out to Matthews Well and Pump in Hanover, Virginia.
Hell yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out.
No, they're fantastic work. Quality employees are fantastic, and their rates were really great. So
nice. Can't ask for much else.
Yep. No, fantastic company.
But that was your old house.
Yeah, that was our old house, and finally got that situated. Few $1,000s and a lot of time spent in a crawl space later. So we got that, and then we were just kind of ready to move on. We had been married. We were talking about potentially, having kids and stuff. Yeah. So we just wanted a bigger house, like more in a neighborhood, like my wife and I kind of grew up in.
Yeah.
Because, land is really expensive. So, to give them the true, like, buy a 10-acre plot and build a house on it and then raise your kids up and all that sort of stuff.
God, that would be so cool.
Yeah, it's like, that's so cool. I don't have the time or the money for that.
You got to be a millionaire to do that.
I was like, I'm going to buy a house that's already made in a neighborhood and they can ride their bike to their friend's house and hang out with them.
That's pretty good too, I guess.
Yeah, and honestly, I really kind of like living in a neighborhood. Our neighbors are awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that. I grew up in a neighborhood too. It's pretty rad.
Yeah.
I live in a neighborhood currently. It's fine. I like it.
It's fun.
But yeah.
So yeah, that was just kind of what we wanted to move on to.
Yeah.
And then, we moved into our house now, and now we have a beautiful baby girl.
Hell yeah. And you also got a dog too. You guys,
we have a beautiful baby dog too.
Yeah, when you moved in together.
Yeah, not too long. It was 2022, so it was like we were in our house for another year, like the old house that we were in, and we were just like, well, let's get a dog first. Yeah, like we both really want a dog. They're a lot easier. It's kind of like an entry level to a child.
You both grew up with dogs, right? Or
she grew up with dogs more than I did. I got a dog when I was like in high school.
Yeah.
But still, I've always loved dogs. But we just decided to get a dog together because that was like, kind of the first step before having a kid.
Definitely. Test run.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, that went swimmingly.
Hell yeah.
And
you got a good dog.
Yeah. I mean, they say that it's kind of like an entry, but it's really not.
What do you mean? Oh,
like dogs are just so much easier.
Oh yeah, I believe that 100%.
Like, dogs. I mean, it helps you to kind of manage your time and stuff because, when you have a dog at home, you got to be like, oh, well, I've got to be home at a certain time because the dog's got to go out. And...
You can't go spend the night can't just like get drunk.
Yeah, it teaches you some like kind of, I want to say responsibility, but also just like kind of how to manage your time properly. Yeah, if you don't want to come home to a house that's a mess.
Yeah, definitely. It's having a dog teaches you responsibility without the consequences of going to jail forever if happens.
You can't put your kid in a crate for 8 hours.
If that happens, if you do that to a kid, you'll go to jail. But you can do that with dogs, so it's a little easier. You shouldn't, but you could. Yeah. Anyway, don't do that. I'll kill you.
If your dog is crate trained, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Louis was crate trained. It's fine.
I think that you're confusing like the idea of throwing a kid into a cage versus throwing a dog into a cage.
Yeah. But I'm also saying don't leave your dog in a cage for 12 hours at a time.
Oh yeah, don't do it for an obscene amount of time. Yeah. But I mean, do it for what it's comfortable with.
My dog's pretty comfortable with the couch.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you'll get to the point the Hallie just roams.
Yeah,
she has her own room.
She's what, 5? She's 4. She's younger. She's younger. She turned 3 in December. Okay, so he turns 5 in October.
Okay.
And I remember when I got him, I was trying to get you guys to get one of his brothers and sisters.
You almost convinced me, but I was like, dude, a husky and Australian Shepherd.
Look at this thing.
I know. He's great, man.
Look at him.
No, he doesn't care now. He's the laziest breed of two hyperactive breeds I've ever seen.
Look, he said, "Hey, what?"
Crap.
Yeah, he does, but he also
Eyeballing
agrees.
me.
He agrees. He likes it. He loves being lazy. Yeah, man. Well, I don't know. So you guys, wonderful family. You guys got a beautiful home, by the way. I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm proud of you, man. You got a great little life going on.
I wouldn't say started from the bottom and now we're here, but I started from, just being like a single poor dude to now having a beautiful wife.
You did
and child and house.
Yeah, man. You're living the dream. You're literally living the American dream. Like, you got that like picturesque. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass.
Oh no! But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
like the white picket fence.
Yeah, you did it. you made it. You got you did it.
Yeah, so, I had a lot of help. So
hey, we all do, man. But yeah. Well, you want to wrap it up? You got anything else you want to talk about, or I forget anything?
Oh no, I'm trying to think. Well, what else were we talking about?
We pretty much got it.
Yeah, I think more or less we kind of got it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem at all. I appreciate you having me. Yeah, it's a really cool concept, and I'm really just hoping that everything does well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, me too. We'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna keep putting it out there in the void for all 40 people.
There was like over 100 on the last one, I thought.
I don't remember. Maybe. I think like overall.
Well, I mean, you got dudes all the way in Bangalore apparently watching this.
In Bangalore, that country I made up. Yeah, I think what did I do? I combined like Bangkok and Singapore or something.
I think so, yeah. Because I think a Bangalore was like a World War II explosive.
I think it's this big tube.
Yeah, it's like the big tube thing. Because I remember watching like Saving Private Ryan, and it's like, get those Bangalores on the beach.
Yes, that's exactly, yeah.
They're like sticking them in the sand like firecrackers.
I heard something about. Did you know that when they came out with Saving Private Ryan, they thought it was a great idea.
Oh, this is what
thought it was a great idea to screen it like ahead of time for veterans of World War II.
No,
and so the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan opens with D-Day.
Yeah, bro.
So you just traumatize a bunch of like 80-year-old World War II veterans. It really is. I can't think of a worse idea.
No, that's oh god.
It's similar thing happened with Schindler's List and Holocaust survivors. A little different because. No, it was still pretty much the same. Actually, it was still pretty bad. But all right, well, let's wrap this up. This is going nowhere fast.
Yeah, we'll probably have to cut out like the last 5 minutes of that.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, thank you for joining.
Thanks to you too, buddy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks to you for the future sponsors.
Yeah, for sure. Future sponsors. All right, bye.